I was here 13 years ago. I read on the board, it was May, and this is May again. So it's exactly 13 years ago. At that time I was president. I came here to commission the building and the operations here. I like the work. I like the work that I've seen, but I like the vision and the ambition that IITA has had and demonstrated. It gave me hope that there is something big, something beneficial is going to come out of the work of this esteemed institution. Coming here almost a decade and a half later, my guess was right. I visited the booth and I saw the wonderful work that has been going on. It was not only from the scientists, but also from the young people, from the farmers themselves. You can see progress that has been made. The transfer of knowledge, transfer of technology. All that I can say is congratulations. I'm really proud of the work that you guys are doing. My humble request to you is to continue to do the good work, but also to do more in terms of dissemination of the work that you've been doing, the outcome of the research that you have been doing. Because I saw it. I've been asking a lot of questions, but those questions were pointed questions. My interests were to see if the results of research are being disseminated. Because you could be doing a lot of research work, and the outcome would only remain in the shelves. But this is not what IITA is doing. I've seen field work, and they mentioned the places that are very close to my place. And I promise you in the next 2 weeks, I will visit the places. And then I give you a report. I'm a farmer. A smallholder farmer, for that matter. Don't imagine that I have a huge farm. No. I grow pineapples. I grow cashew nuts. I grow maize. I grow some cassava, but I've not done much on that one. That's why I was very keen on getting the seedlings, so that I'll plant them in my farm and brag about the outcome. I'll take photographs and show you, demonstrate that things are really working. I have a lot of interest in agriculture, but also I have a lot of interest in research. You know, when I became president, of course we were keen on developing the agricultural sector. There were certain parameters, there were certain things that I was particularly interested in. And one of them has been agricultural research. I have visited almost all the research institutions, agricultural research institutions. If there is any that I have not visited, then it is just bad luck. Maybe the gods were not happy with those guys. I've been to Naliendere, where we do a lot of cashew nut research. But also there is cassava research. That's why I was quite keen on asking those guys who are developing cassava. Because the Makonde, to the Makonde, cassava is their staple food. And my wife belongs to that group. I've been to Ilonga, where they're doing a lot of research work on maize. I've been to Uyole. I've been to Mlingano. I've been almost to every agricultural research institution. There are things I observed. One, I observed that all the scientists were old people. They're almost retiring. But that struck me. Why are there no young scientists? I did something which the human rights people may accuse me of not being sensitive. I said, you guys are not going to retire. Because retirement is a basic right of an employee. I said, we will keep you in the job until such a time that you mix the genes of plants that are not supposed to be mixed. You take cassava and mix with maize genes. Then I think we say now we have come to a point where you should now go home and take care of your grandchildren. But the other thing which I did, because at that time there was employment freeze. You know, some of these programs, structural adjustment programs. One component of the structural adjustment program was civil service reform. And in the civil service reform, one specific thing has been employment freeze. Because of employment freeze, no young people were being employed. So we ended up with research institutions with only old people. The gerontocracy, not the Gen Z. Only the gerontocracy were in this job. So I took a decision to say, you guys are not going to retire, but I gave permission to employ young scientists. I decided, if it is in the US, we'll say executive order. Trump is doing that very often. But I gave an executive order that we establish a fund for research and set aside 1% of the national budget for research. And I said, we give that money to the Commission of Science and Technology. We'll be the ones who are going to manage that fund. research institutions, which also included universities, would apply. And COSTECH will be the one that is going to decide. It's helping in two ways. One, at that time, most of research programs were being funded by donors. The government was not funding research. And donors have interest in certain research programs. They may not necessarily be the ones that the research institutions are interested in or the government is interested in. So through that fund, we were able that almost every research institution had almost at least 2 programs that were being funded by the government. But also we spent part of that money to train our young scientists for masters and PhDs. So that's how we were able to revive research work institutions. I was so happy about it, and by the time I retired, the program was still going on, and I'm sure it is still going on. It really helped. It really helped. So those who reached retirement age remained in the job for some time, given contracts. We employed young scientists, trained them through masters and PhDs. We got a proper replacement. The other significant thing that we did, we established in the national medals a medal recognizing scientific work. Because when you visit these research institutions, a scientist tells you, I am these beans, I am this variety, mimi ndio staha. So we said, let's recognize them. It was also another measure of encouraging our young scientists to get more and more involved in research. IITA came, I saw new partners. Partners in my ambition to see the agricultural sector grow. You proved my guess right. You've done so well, so far so good. All I can say, please continue to do the good work. In whatever way I can be useful, I promise I will. Thank you.